Hello, hello. Welcome to Wellness Wednesday. Hopefully you can hear me. There's lots of construction going outside of my office window today, so boo for that. But I'm here. Yay, it is Wednesday right now. Speaking of brain health and brain fog and forgetfulness, we're going to talk about it today. So last week we talked about digestive health. And, really they're all tied together. So today we're going to jump into brain health for Wellness Wednesday. And as usual, the post and the newsletter that comes out tomorrow will be all about brain health. So I am Audrey Christie. I'm a holistic wellness practitioner. I help people heal from the roots up and the inside out using a holistic approach. So generally that is nutrition and energy work and other healing modalities all combined to heal your body or teach your body how to heal itself or help you remember how your body heals itself. So if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the box below. If you want to keep this, if your brain health isn't so great, you want to keep this for later reference, you can share it to your page. And even if you don't, even if you make it not public, so even if you share it privately, that way it lives in your video library instead of my video library where you have to search through all the other videos to find it. So let's dive in. What do I mean by brain health? So if you find yourself, or even your kiddo, although I'm going to do a whole special on kiddos, so you don't necessarily have to do this for your child, but if you find yourself easily distracted, really tired, if you're just kind of overall down, if you're forgetful or moody or anxious, maybe even worse, maybe you're dealing with some sort of brain fog. Maybe you're dealing with something even more advanced. It's really no surprise that our society as a whole is dealing with these foggy brain type issues because our brains require a steady stream of vitamins and minerals and proteins and fatty acids and sleep. So it requires all of that in order to perform at peak performance. So in our, high fast paced, overstimulated world we live in with, nutrient deficient foods and our standard Western sad diet, it's no wonder our brains are suffering and our kiddos' brains too. We have higher than ever levels of depression and anxiety and diagnoses and medications for that. ADHD is off the charts. Our elderly are suffering from, our senior citizens are suffering from all sorts of Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's onset is getting earlier, younger and younger and younger. It used to be a disease of the elderly, and now it's a disease of the lower age senior citizens, right? So, we've talked about how what you put in your body nutritionally or environmentally plays a big role in the overall expression of you, of your being, of your human suit, right? Even of your energy. And so it's, it has that big impact on your overall wellness, but specifically it has big impact on your brain health. So let's talk about how do you know if you're having these sort of brain troubles? Sort of, some of the things I mentioned before. Are you tired, fatigued? Do you have low motivation? Are you lacking inspiration? Are you grouchy and irritable? Are you easily distracted? Do you have trouble concentrating? Do you have a lot of headaches? Maybe even migraines? That's a big sign of a nutrient deficiency. Are you suffering from forgetfulness? Do you frequently have that, it's on the tip of my tongue type moment? Are you suffering from anxiety? So you're either having acute bouts of anxiety or low-grade chronic anxiety or more severe chronic anxiety. Are you confused or suffering from confusion or maybe a loved one? Are you having trouble sleeping? So you're having a lot of sleepless nights, you waking up in the middle of the night or just having general insomnia. There are lots and lots and lots of signs. Those are just a few of them. So if you're having those signs, let's talk about what causes them. Now, there are a broad range of things that cause them, but some of the really easy fixed ones, or one of the most easily fixed ones, is dehydration. And I get that a lot. And that goes for kiddos too. So if your kiddo's cranky, having trouble, for kiddos, it's usually either sleep, dehydration, or some sort of nutrient deficiency. And usually between those three things and a few energetic exercises, we can settle all of that down. and improve that brain function. For grown-ups, same thing. It's just easier for a grown-up to know whether or not they're dehydrated. So if you're drinking less than 100 ounces of water a day, for most people, then you're dehydrated. Even if you feel like you don't need any more and your body can't hold any more, you're probably dehydrated. If you have a specific question about how many ounces you should drink, then don't hesitate to ask, and I'll certainly let you know. Lack of sleep is a big one. It really impacts brain function. You should be getting 7 to 10 hours depending on your individual needs, but 7 to 10 hours is a good ballpark range. And so what can cause poor sleep? Well, too much caffeine, not enough exercise, too much alcohol, too much sugar, too many refined carbohydrates, and then other nutrient deficiencies, I'll get it out here in a minute, can lead to a lack of sleep. Magnesium is a big one. So if you're deficient in magnesium, then your nerve endings are super excitable. And little things that wouldn't wake somebody up who had the proper level of magnesium in their body will wake you up. So maybe your partner tossing and turning in bed, maybe laying on one of your arms. You know, you put your head on your arm and it sort of, you get some pain sometimes. So those kind of things wake you up, whereas if you had the proper levels of magnesium in your body, you would sleep through them. It would just be part of your sleep cycle rather than a full wake. A lot of times these things can be remedied with a few simple tweaks, and then they don't even have to last long. Another thing that can cause lack of sleep is a lack of tryptophan in the body. And there's lots of different things, but tryptophan contributes to serotonin, which in turn makes melatonin, right? And so if you don't have enough tryptophan, your body's not making serotonin. So not only are you not getting any sleep, but you might be a little bit depressed. And so you're also then not producing melatonin, and you're not either falling asleep or staying asleep. So that can also be a really, really big problem. Dehydration, and no, that's not staged, I'm just thirsty. So dehydration is a big one. 100 ounces of water a day, we've already covered that. Poor diet, this is huge. Our brains are 60% fat. Y'all throw the low fat BS out the window. It has been disproven scientifically, biologically. It is not sustainable for you to eat a low fat diet. So I know you love your turkey burgers, but you don't have to buy the low fat turkey burgers. You don't have to buy the low fat beef. You need to eat steaks. You need to enjoy bacon, but there is a caveat, of course. You need to make sure that they are healthy choices, right? So you want to opt for organic and grass-fed. If you're buying bacon, you want to make sure it doesn't have nitrates in it. But the bottom line is your brain needs that fat to function. And it doesn't just need that fat, it also needs supplemented fat. So like omega-3 fatty acids, super important for brain function. I've seen a lot of cases turn almost completely around just by adding that supplement. So our poor diet, too much sugar, too much caffeine, too much alcohol, too many refined carbs, gluten, dairy, all of those things, artificial sweeteners, those contribute to poor brain health. Boo, right? They wreak havoc on the gut, and we've talked about before that connection, the gut-brain axis. It's connected by several nerve innervations, and just like how you can get worried about something and your tummy gets upset, same thing happens in reverse. If your tummy's upset, aka if you have a leaky gut, then it causes inflammation in your brain, and it stops all those hormones, the three main brain hormones, which are serotonin, cortisol, and dopamine. It messes up the balance of those, and it leads to a lot of brain function problems. In addition, too many sweets leads to brain problems like Alzheimer's. That's why they're starting to call it diabetes type 3. And they've seen lots of Alzheimer's progression reversed by simply eating no sugar, by reducing your sugar intake. So instead of eating fruits and chips and candy, you eat and breads and pastas and refined foods, you eat meat and vegetables, and the Alzheimer's reverses itself. Vitamin and mineral deficiencies, I talked about that a little bit. So poor diets strip our bodies of the vitamins and minerals that they need, because those vitamins and minerals either can't be absorbed or they're used for processes to help protect your body from those refined foods. They can't do the job that they are supposed to do. Usually this is magnesium, omega-3 fatty acids, and vitamin B. Those are ones that most often I see deficiencies for brain function, brain health. And then stress. So here's the thing, high stress produces high cortisol levels, which leads to, guess what, poor brain health, fatigue, brain fog, that wired but tired feeling where you're just exhausted but you can't stop. It leads to weight gain, hormone imbalances, insomnia, depression, anxiety. And the weird thing about stress, of all the things I talk about today, well, all of these things are a choice, but stress is the one thing that is perceived, right? It's not the grocery store's fault. It's not the food manufacturer's fault. It's not your neighbor's fault or your dad's fault or your partner's fault or your kid's fault. Stress is the one thing of all the things we talk about that is 100% perceived. So what do I mean by that? That means you and you alone choose or decide what is stressful for you. So make another choice. And I know it doesn't sound that simple, but when you boil it down, it actually is that simple. You can choose to be stressed about something or make another choice. So just think about that. If you have questions, let me know. I'll dive deeper into that in the episode 038. It'll be live tomorrow, maybe even today, but it'll be live and sent out tomorrow for sure. So think about that. Stress is the one thing that you choose. It's your choice. It's not your station, situation, location, any of that. It's your choice. So choose something else, because stress leads to high cortisol levels, which leads to all of the brain funk that we're talking about. So we've talked about all the things that you do to wreck your brain, right? So let's talk about things we can do to improve our brain. So what are they? Pretty much the reverse of what we've talked about, right? So you want to eat for your brain. How do you do that? You eat a high fat, moderate protein, low carbohydrate diet. And you're probably thinking that sounds super keto. Well, if you've been around long, you know that keto, before it was the slang word for a diet of cheese and bacon, it actually referred to the macronutrients that you consume. So you can eat paleo keto, you can eat anything, any diet can be keto, right? Any diet can be keto. Any nutrition plan can be keto, because keto just refers to a lower number of carbs. So we've talked before, 120 is the maximum. So you want to go somewhere for maintenance around 80 carbs in a day, and somewhere below 50 if you want to lose weight, below 20 if you have diagnosed brain problems. What do I mean by that? So depression, anxiety, those sort of things. If you've been diagnosed with diabetes or pre-diabetic or pre-Alzheimer's, or you're the bottom stages of dementia or any of those things, then you want to be even more strict on a macronutrient plan of keto. And so when you think of keto, you might be thinking, cool, I've seen that on Facebook, I've seen that on Pinterest. I can totally do that. Cheese and bacon, steak, and that's about it. That's where people usually go wrong. That style of diet it might lead to weight loss temporarily, but generally it leads to more inflammation, weight comes back and balloons. It just doesn't work well at all. So the way you want to reformulate that is to have a vegetable heavy keto diet. And so vegetable heavy means you eat lots and lots and lots of green vegetables. I use the reminder, the key green face. Is it green? Meaning, did it come from the earth? Does it have green leaves? So it's not that you can never have these, but it's generally not a carrot, a root vegetable, a potato, right? And did it have a face? So did it once swim in the water or walk on the land? And that's a pretty good indicator of whether or not you should be putting it in your body. So you want to make sure that you are not eating in a way where you're consuming all of that dairy and you're making your standard American unhealthy foods like pizza, and you're just changing it around so that it's low carb. That's still not a healthful way to eat, and it won't help your brain function. The other thing you can do is take care of your gut. A big piece of that is what you eat. Another piece of that is probiotics and staying hydrated. And so you want to make sure you're taking 30 billion minimum CFU of probiotics a day. And again, that's a maintenance dose. So if we're in a healing phase, we're going to take more than that. And then hydration, we talked about that, 100 ounces minimum of water a day, unless you are extremely petite or extremely large, depending on your size. That could change a little bit. But for most people, 100 ounces is a safe bet. And I actually had a client this week come to me and they're like, man, when I first started trying to increase my ounces of water, I felt like I was flooded. And so it takes your body, when your body's used to being chronically dehydrated, it takes your body a little bit of time to get used to not being chronically dehydrated. So you'll have to pee a lot. You might feel bloated. Usually that goes away in 3 or 4 days. Supplements are another way to boost brain health. We talked about omega-3 fatty acids, 3,000 to 5,000 milligrams a day. Make sure they're good quality omega-3s. So you want them to be krill, unless you're allergic to shellfish. You want to make sure they don't have anything else in them, and you want to make sure you read the label, because a lot of times there's either other stuff hidden in them or it's not a natural source of omega-3. You want to make sure that if you're having brain troubles, you're supplementing with vitamin B. You might need to supplement with tryptophan or something to help boost those serotonin levels. Avoid taking melatonin. Excuse me, I feel a cough coming on. Just because I've been talking all day long. Avoid taking melatonin. That's one of the things that if you take it directly rather than taking the things to help your body produce it, eventually your body stops making melatonin and you have to work a lot harder to get it back. So I encourage you to avoid that. So probiotics, omega-3s, vitamin D, you can get that from the sunshine, 20 to 25 minutes of unmitigated, so not through a window and not through sunscreen, sunshine in a day. What else? I said probiotics, omega-3s, vitamin D, vitamin Bs. So make sure you're getting bioavailable vitamin B. Usually that has to be taken under the tongue. And you want to make sure that you have the bioavailable formula. If you have questions, I have the recommended goodies page on my website, audreychristie.com. Click wellness tips or wellness goodies, and it's just a list of where you can find all sorts of brand recommendations and things. And then mitigate stress. So how do you do that? Again, you choose something else is the best thing. You can also meditate. A little bit of meditation every day does every body and every person good. And then you can work to balance your energy. So you can either learn how to do that yourself or go see an energy practitioner to have a crystal treatment or a Reiki treatment. You can also use movement. So balancing your energy with movement is another way. So that could be moderate exercise. You don't have to go to the gym and kill yourself with cardio. You can take a walk in nature, even better. These are all things that you can do to help to improve and boost your brain health, and make sure you're one of these people that you are 102 and you still have all your faculties. Again, a lot of these tips and a lot of this information applies to kids as well. So if you have specific questions, pop them in the box, send me a message, and let's take a look at your individual situation. I am Audrey Christie with audreychristie.com. I'm a holistic wellness practitioner. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday. Namaste.